when we can improve the customer experience, because I think that in the end is what will drive adoption of technology within the core bank-to-bank space.
Hello, and welcome to this four-part masterclass discussion on recent developments in correspondent banking, brought to you by the Banker magazine. My name is Joy Macknight, and I'm Transaction Banking and Technology Editor at The Banker. Here with me is Westerhaus, Global Co-Head of Client Products and Solutions at Deutsche Bank. Thanks for joining us. And Wim Raymaekers, Global Head of Banking Market at Swift. Thanks for joining us, Wim. In the previous video, we looked at the current landscape in correspondent banking, and in this one, we're going to explore some of the disruptive elements coming to play. So Wim, I wanted to ask you, again, going back to Sibos in Singapore this year, there's a huge amount of hype around the fintech explosion and the fact that maybe correspondent banking is ripe for disruption. What do you think about what the discussions that were being had at Sibos?
Yes, and indeed, Joy, it was quite an active Sibos in the sense that we saw, again, InnoTribe bringing together the whole ecosystem of fintech. And we do see a lot of innovation and fintech, I believe, in particular in the customer-to-bank area. We've seen mobile banking, online banking, mobile payments, peer-to-peer lending. There's a lot of activity in the client-to-bank channels. Where I've not seen that much innovation or disruption yet is in the core bank-to-bank space. And also there, I think we should explore new technologies, new opportunities, but as well be realistic, I think, in the sense that between banks and inside banks organizations, there is the compliance and the liquidity and the risk operations really integrated. So it's quite unrealistic to just unplug that and to plug some new technology in. So I think, yes, we should explore new technologies, but maybe along a roadmap so that we can bring in new technologies at the right moment, and particularly when they have a good customer benefit, when we can improve the customer experience, because I think that in the end is what will drive adoption of technology within the core bank-to-bank space.
And Christian, do you agree with that? What is your take on it?
I fully agree with what Wim has said. Would like to expand on this a little bit. It is about a number of criteria that we have to meet when developing correspondent banking further. Let's remind ourselves this is a true intermediary business. That means we do serve other banks and their underlying customers in high-quality execution of their instructions. A lot of that is for business-to-business transactions linked to international trade and commerce. So when further developing correspondent banking, we need to think about criteria such as timeliness. And here, in the interbank space, we are able to settle within minutes or even seconds. So there is a lot of talk about real-time instant payments in the international space. The settlement, it does happen very fast. What we need to do is expand more on the end-to-end proposition in order to give better, almost guarantees around how fast can we execute on an end-to-end. And then if you compare what new entrants could bring to the market and what you can do with a powerful correspondent banking, I'm not afraid about the future of correspondent banking if we do this right. So this applies to transparency, to speed, also to tracking of information, exactly those criteria. And then technology is an important enabler, yet the end-to-end flow needs to be understood by all means, and this includes liquidity, collateral, etc.
Okay, but obviously it's not business as usual for the correspondent banks. And how can you really change the customer experience? Because I think that's what the fintech revolution is all about, is really, hitting these pain points for the end user.
For the end user, I would distinguish between retail and wholesale. If you look at wholesale or business to business, you deal with treasurers, for example, that have built up payment factories, treasury centers, etc. These clients are usually not interested in a lot of disruption. They are interested in better liquidity management, better reconciliation, less exceptions. And this is exactly the space where we want to support those end clients going forward, and also with an even better correspondent banking solution. And then new technology can add to this.
Okay. And Wim, what do you think about that? Like in terms of the customer experience and, you know, especially in the bank-to-bank world?
Yeah, so I think that would be really interesting to see how we could bring the fintech community together with the banking community to bring, for instance, this real-time monitoring and tracking of payments, the DHL of payments, where corporates do want to see where the payment is, or has the seller been paid because I'm waiting for my goods. You know, those are real concrete needs by the corporate treasurer. I think indeed, like Christian said, in terms of speed, corporates, they pay on invoice. Yeah, so it's 30 days invoice. So they do want predictability and transparency of the payments, the tracking of the payments, as Christian mentioned, and also rich payment information. Because the seller, he needs to know which invoice is being paid. Otherwise, the goods are not shipped. So those are really concrete elements where we can improve the customer experience and enable those businesses to do their global trade.
As you mentioned, rich payment information, I would just like to mention the global development towards ISO 20022, where also SWIFT has got an important role to play. I believe this goes together with developments such as the legal entity identifier, the LEI, so it should be combined. We shouldn't be doing piecemeal or just tactical steps. The like-for-like replacement of standards probably is not going to do it or make it in the interest of the end client.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you very much for that contribution. The next video in the masterclass series is going to be around new technology and what it's bringing to the correspondent banking arena.